Hello everyone and welcome to the channel, and today I'm gonna talk about my long-term experience with the Pixel 7 Pro after using this phone for about 8 months. There are a lot of things I like about this phone, but there are also other things that disappointed me. So let me share with you my full experience and start with the design and build quality. Overall, the 7 Pro has an amazing design, and if you decided to use it naked or with a skin, you will definitely enjoy the curved edges it has. Unlike the S23 Ultra or the 14 Pro Max, for example, that have rough edges which might give you a slight discomfort when you use them for a long period of time, but this is not the case with the 7 Pro. Not to mention that it's one of the lightest flagships with a 6.7 inches display, and that also makes it easier for your hands. On top of this, you get a unique look that no other company copied till now. And I know you heard this a lot, but this phone doesn't wobble on any flat surface unlike others that have the camera module on one of the sides. I also found the buttons to be placed perfectly, and all of them can be reached with one finger without the need to adjust your hand that much. While I do like the buttons placement when I hold it by hand, but they can be easily covered when you put it in a car mobile holder, which is inconvenient sometimes based on which holder you use. I don't recommend the ones with a clamp, and try to get a magnetic holder to clear the sides and easily use the buttons while driving. When it comes to the front side, the hole punch cutout is one of the things I liked about the 7 Pro design due to its minimal distractions, unlike the notch of the 14 Pro Max that looks really weird when you watch full screen content. And for the curved display, it's a personal preference, but I like how it looks. And you don't need to worry about the accidental touches because Google optimized the software really well to avoid this from happening, and I didn't encounter this issue for the past 8 months. The only downside is the screen protectors for curved displays are relatively more expensive and harder to apply, and I decided to use this phone without a screen protector anyways to see how durable is the front glass. Through the past 8 months, I dropped it many times while filming videos. I also wear jeans 90% of the time. I put the phone and take it out of my pocket hundreds of times a day, and thankfully till now it's holding up really well, and the number of scratches I have on my screen are far less than my expectations. And the back glass is no exception. It's very durable as well, but keep in mind the 7 Pro is very slippery, and when you put it on top of things it can easily fall off. So to avoid this from happening, you can use a skin, a case, or at least clear coating to give it more grip. So for the past 8 months I had a great overall experience in this matter. But there is only one thing that might annoy you in the build quality, which is the permanent scratches you will see on the camera bar even when you use a case. Most of the 7 Pro cases exposes this part to give you a nice look, but unfortunately it can be easily scratched like in my case here. And they are deep enough to feel them with my nails. So I recommend covering this part with anything if you don't want to see scratches over time. So these are all the pros and cons in the design and build quality in my opinion, and now let's move on to the display. I have enjoyed the 7 Pro display for the past 8 months. The scrolling is very smooth thanks to the 120Hz refresh rate, and it responds really fast to touches. I also found that the display coating is very premium, so I feel like my fingers fly over the display. Plus, it's very easy to clean as the fingerprints and the smudges don't stick that much. Colors wise, I love how vibrant they are, and the white balance is perfect. It's not too warm or too cool, so I never felt that I need to adjust it. And if you want to mute down the colors to look more natural, you have the option to achieve this under settings, and you can see the difference between the two. When it comes to the brightness, it's more than enough for watching HDR content or when I use it under direct sunlight. And I didn't feel that the 2000 or 1700 nits peak brightness you get with other flagships is mandatory. For the bezels, I know some people are annoyed by the slightly thicker bezel at the bottom, but honestly this didn't impact me in any way and it's barely noticeable. So overall, the Pixel 7 Pro display is almost perfect, but what's holding it back is the inefficient Tensor G2 when it overheats and decides to tune down the brightness and the refresh rate, resulting into a subpar experience, and this happens more frequent than what you would expect. So let's talk about the performance and battery life. When I first got the device in October 2022, it was a dream to record a 4K 60 video for more than 10 minutes indoors without overheating. And the 6 Pro was even better back then. After December 2022 update, things improved and I was able to reach 17 minutes under pretty much the same conditions, but the 6 Pro was still better, reaching more than 20 minutes. And back in March 2023, I compared it against the S23 Ultra and the 14 Pro Max, and it was the only phone to drop the data connection twice throughout the test and gives a thermal warning. When it comes to the battery life, I compared it against the 6 Pro back in October 2022 and I got 5.3 hours of screen on time on cellular data, which is not bad, but it's not on the same level of the other flagships I have. And I didn't see that much of a difference since then, if it's not even worse. It's also worth noting that the modem seems to be a big part of the battery life problem, because till now my network usage is extremely high, either on Android 13 or Android 14 Beta 3, as shown now on the screen. So overall, the performance of the 7 Pro was far from ideal. I'm not talking about the stress test I did with the S23 Ultra and the 14 Pro Max, but I'm also talking about my day-to-day usage. When I make a video call on this phone indoors on Wi-Fi, after reaching 30 minutes, it becomes too hot, reaching 45 degrees Celsius, and that's when I start to see lower refresh rate and lower brightness. So imagine if I'm gonna use this phone outdoors in a country like the UAE, where the temperature and the humidity are too high. I'm not sure why Google is sticking to Samsung chipsets while Samsung themselves decided to switch to Snapdragon, but I hope to see this issue addressed with the Pixel 8. And now let's talk about my experience with the camera. With no doubt, the 7 Pro camera takes amazing photos with natural skin tones, great HDR, and colors. And what makes it even better is the smart software features you get, like long exposure, action pan, astrophotography, face unblur, super res zoom, and more. Plus, every feature drop makes the camera even better. With March feature drop, the night photos quality improved quite significantly, and I created a separate video comparing photos before and after the update that you can find its link in the description below. And with June feature drop, we got macro videos that I also talked about in a separate video that you can also find its link in the description. And it doesn't only stop here, but I also enjoyed Google Photos features even more, especially photo unblur and the magic eraser. I used those two features quite a lot, not only for myself but also for my friends when they send me their photos to erase something for them or enhance it with the photo unblur feature. So the photos experience on a Pixel is second to none in my opinion when you consider the quality and the features combined. But there are some serious issues with the camera as well. Number one, the videos. And this is a huge disappointment for me. They always have a lot of noise, and it doesn't only happen at night when the light condition is not great, but it also happens in the morning. You will find a lot of grain in the shadows, and I don't understand why we still have this issue since the Pixel 1 till now, which is 7 years worth of devices. Google completely ignoring the issue as if it doesn't exist, even though everyone on YouTube talks about it. Secondly, the cinematic videos. I don't understand why we have this feature. Its quality is too bad to a point that I prefer not to see it in the camera app, but it feels like we have it just to fill the gap. The third issue is in portraits, especially the subject isolation. Based on my experience with other phones, I can confidently say that the 7 Pro is the worst flagship in this matter by a good margin. I didn't take a single portrait photo without an issue in the subject isolation for the past 8 months. And lastly, the lens flares at night can be really annoying if there is a light source in the frame. I also didn't experience this issue with any of the phones I tested before, like the S23 Ultra, the 14 Pro Max, some phones from Honor, and more. So overall, my experience with the camera is a kind of a love and hate situation. There are a lot of things I love about this camera that I couldn't find anywhere else, but there are also other disappointments that I don't experience anywhere else too. So I hope Google will focus on the fundamentals this year and solve the ongoing issues instead of adding new features, because we already have a lot. And now let's talk about the software. I love each and every feature I have on the 7 Pro, like the amazing camera and the Google Photos features I talked about earlier, the Now Playing feature, Assistant Voice Typing, Live Translate, and many more. Plus, every feature drop surprises me with 1 or 2 great new features every 3 months. I love the simplicity of the UI, and being able to get the latest Android version before any other phone is extremely convenient for me. But there are 3 main issues that I always experience. First, the new features released with every update don't appear for everyone at the same time. For example, the cinematic wallpapers in June feature drop showed up on one of my phones after a week, and the other 3 phones I have that also support the feature had to wait even longer. That's always the case in some of the new features in every software update. Number 2 is the lack of consistency in the UI. For example, some apps like Google Photos and Maps no longer use the side menu, while Messages, Gmail, and Calendar still do. Some apps use the new toggles while others don't. Material You was released almost 2 years ago, and till now, some apps don't fully support it, not to mention that the themed icons are still in beta, and Google didn't find a way to apply it on non-Google apps for the sake of consistency. Number 3 and the last one is the lack of availability for some features in certain regions for no apparent reason. For example, 5G and voice over LTE is still not fully supported in the Middle East. Features like fall detection, call screen, car crash detection, and a lot more are not supported either. But when you look at other brands like Apple, Samsung, or any other Chinese brand, you might see a couple of features that are region specific, but everything else work almost everywhere. My overall experience with the software is positive, and I'm still happy to use the 7 Pro as my daily driver because of the software features it has. But in my opinion, if Google addressed the 3 issues I mentioned, it will be almost perfect. Now let's talk quickly about the other things. Starting with the haptics, the 7 Pro exceeded my expectations as the haptic engine is very premium and the software utilized it really well. The cellular, Bluetooth, and Wi-Fi connections had no issues in strength or stability. The calls quality is perfect, especially after adding the clear calling feature that minimizes the background noise. You get wireless charging and reverse wireless charging, which is great, but maybe the charging speed is the only thing that I wish it was faster than 23 watts. One last thing I want to talk about before ending this video is the availability of Pixel phones globally. Unfortunately, they are not available in tons of countries, even though Google started to make phones about the same time as every other major brand, and now all of them are in much more markets when compared to Google. And this will definitely impact your experience negatively in case your phone got faulty in the first year and you don't have the option to claim your warranty. So these are all the points I wanted to cover in today's video, and here is my final conclusion. I still use the 7 Pro as my daily driver even with all the issues I mentioned for many reasons. The design, the simple and less cluttered software, the amazing array of smart features, and the photos quality. But for anything else, I know I will get a better experience from other brands like Samsung and Apple. And if other brands caught up and started to offer software features similar to Google, it will be very hard for Pixel phones to survive, which is something I hope it won't happen. So that's pretty much it for today. That was my long-term review for the Pixel 7 Pro. Please let me know in the comments what do you think. But for now, thanks so much for watching and see you in the next video.